Petraeus was set to be the key witness coming up in the Benghazi testimony this week, but wouldn't you know it, the FBI, and I can't believe they said this with a straight face, accidentally stumbled on some private emails and discovered that General Petraeus was having an affair. Oh, my goodness. And they didn't see, whoops, oh, my. What are the odds? What are the odds? So instead of testifying this week about what happened in Benghazi, he has resigned in disgrace. He was the CIA director. Gosh, who would have seen that one coming, huh? Well, you would have if you watched this network. Look.
I got to get on a plane, but I just wanted to leave a theory here so it's on record.
All right.
Watch for Petraeus to take the blame. As I've been thinking about this, and I've been thinking, where's Petraeus? Petraeus is the guy who's been set up as he's the intelligence guy now. He's the head of the CIA. Mm-hmm. Everybody trusts Petraeus. Remember when they moved him over there and we were like, why is he doing that? They're getting him out of the way. Put this all together. Who have they tried to sell down the river every step of the way? The intelligence. Sloppy intelligence. Didn't know. Everything. You watch. Petraeus is going to be the fall guy. They're going to have him step down. They're going to point all fingers to him. You watch.
Do you think he takes that, or do you think...
he goes to Princeton. I think he goes to Princeton. I think he takes it, and he goes to Princeton. And he thinks, I'll shape young minds. I'll do that.
He takes it for this administration? Or he takes it for
the
military that doesn't seem to want it?
I think they've set this guy up and given him the golden parachute already of go to Princeton, run Princeton, and they've got him out of the way. I
think he's too honorable a guy to take it, but it might be the reverse.
But you watch, they're going to set him up. He's going to be the fall guy.
Too honorable of a guy. Well, as it turns out, no, not so much. I readily admit that I stink on ice predicting presidential election and politics. But when we're talking about radical revolutionaries who are plotting to overthrow America and end capitalism as we know it, I'm pretty good. I got those guys nailed. This story just doesn't make any sense unless you look at it through the eyes of revolutionaries. I've told you from the beginning, what's happening in Libya is they are running guns and aid to our enemy. And that's what this whole thing was all about. And that's why they will not investigate, and that's why they're hiding everything. Now, I made this prediction 2 weeks ago because I was bothered by how the Obama administration just kept citing bad intelligence in the wake of Benghazi. And I kept thinking to myself, why would you do that? How could you possibly expect the spooks of the world to just continue to take it? Over and over and over again for the last couple of years. Everything has been bad intelligence. Who's going to take that very long? And then I realized, wait a minute. Who's in charge of the CIA? See, I was asking, why would they throw their own people under the bus like that? Simple. Who is the head of intelligence? He's not their guy. Do you remember this? General Petraeus or General Betrayus, cooking the books for the White House. This was from MoveOn.org. They're the ones who did this. They hate this guy. They didn't put him in charge of Afghanistan and later the CIA because they like him. They hate him. But keep your enemies close, especially if you have something on them, because they provide you with a fall guy. And if you don't need the fall guy, it's still good to have somebody that you can manipulate. Petraeus has been a very good general, but as we now know, he is not necessarily an honorable man. And he has exhibited wildly dangerous behavior. He put himself in a position to be blackmailed. But wait a minute, he didn't put himself in the position of CIA director. The president did. Well, did the president know? Well, let's look at this. He's in a position now of being blackmailed as a CIA director, but before he was a CIA director, he was writing love notes through email. Wow. Not the guy we thought he was, and probably not so bright either. At the time that he left Afghanistan, he was already in the midst of this affair. But when he went to Afghanistan. At the very beginning of this administration, there was talk about Petraeus becoming a future presidential candidate for the Republicans. And being universally respected as the figure that he is, that posed a threat to the Democrats. And I remember being on Fox and I said, well, look what they're doing. Don't go. They're using this. They have this on their side. It's a side benefit. Take you off the table, General, so you're not a worthy political opponent. So you isolate and you put yourself over in Afghanistan. We need you here. But here's what the disgracing of Petraeus accomplishes. Not only have they used him, manipulated him, got what they wanted, but now they not only destroy him, but also it causes more distrust on one of the only institutions we have left. See, if you want to understand these guys, you have to understand revolution and study revolution. And I have. I've talked to people who, that's all they do is study revolution. And when I first started looking into this, I started to make a list on all the things that you would need to be able to fundamentally transform or to overthrow the United States government. And the only one, and we talked about it, I told you, the only hurdle left for the progressives was the military. They weakened every institution. The only one left standing was the military. Well, now this kind of shakes up that upstanding American view of the military, doesn't it? Along with the Navy SEALs and everything else that's going on. Here's our top guy, a 4-star general. And he's cheating on his wife of nearly 38 years. I don't know what was happening in their marriage, but that doesn't seem good. Did they set him up? I don't think they were sending hookers to him or setting this woman to him. But the first indication that something wasn't right here was the mere fact that he was being considered for the CIA's top spot. Why would you send Petraeus to the CIA and then move your CIA director to run the Department of Defense? Why not leave your CIA director at the CIA, Leon Panetta, leave him there, and put Petraeus in at the Defense Department? That's his expertise. Also, reports are now coming out that the administration knew that Petraeus was having an affair while they were vetting him for the CIA's top spot. The official line from the administration is they had no idea about it. No, nobody told us. Really? Really? Just like you had no clue that Van Jones was a communist, revolutionary, 9/11 truther, you had no idea that was in his past. You had no idea how people crashed the State Department or the state dinners at the White House and got into close proximity of the president. You had no idea that Reverend Wright said all of these hateful, anti-American things. No idea? You had no clue that the Egyptian the politicians that you granted a visa to was a member of a U.S. designated terror group, and you let him into the White House. You had no idea? Really? This is your level of vetting? Well, if that's true, gosh, Obama, boy, you're lucky, because all that Osama bin Laden had to do to be alive today is just apply for a cabinet position at the White House. Says here you're a community organizer in Islamabad. Sounds great. These aren't vetting accidents. This administration is radically left-wing, and they're lying to you about an awful lot of stuff. But let's say it is a vetting problem. Okay, good. Let's just take the administration that they didn't know. Then their firing should have begun last week. There should be a long line of people who were fired. Common sense dictates the answer. Petraeus was allegedly using an open email address. I don't know what it was. General Petraeus at hotmail.com, M-A-L-E, or whatever it was. But you don't use an open email address to send explicit sex under the desk emails to your mistress. Let me tell you, the reason why I know this is I have talked to all the intel guys. I've talked to Rumsfeld, I talked to Chertoff, I talked to Ashcroft, all when they were in office. All of them looked at me like I was a crazy man when I talked to them about email. He said, no, nobody in our positions use email because they can be easily hacked. You don't use that. Easily hacked? Yeah, sure, with 1980s technology called Echelon. Interception and collection of content from phones and faxes and emails and other data traffic. Really, our director of the CIA and our top general over there wouldn't know about that? Oh, by the way, they're also building giant storage facilities. This is in Utah. That's all this is a storage facility of data that's been collected. Rest assured, when 4-star stallion at yahoo.com is sending sex under the desk emails, I'm pretty sure the government knows about it. And surely it wouldn't take all that much to investigate, in the vetting process, to notice that he has, at least on the surface, has some pretty big red flags. Really? Let's try this one. Who did Petraeus select to write his big autobiography? Well, one that, after this guy writes it, it's going to get tons of media attention, given his stature and his history. Who's going to write that? He picks a 40-year-old hottie who's never written a book before in a day in her life. Her name is Paula Broadwell. She first met Petraeus 6 years ago when he spoke at Harvard while she was a graduate student there. In 2008, she decides to pursue a doctorate in public policy and conduct a case on his innovative leadership skills. Yeah. During that time, she had regular contact with him via email. And they really have to stop saying this, they worked out together and did push-ups together. Mommy and Daddy are doing push-ups in the other room. Then in 2010, Petraeus is put in charge in Afghanistan. She travels there multiple times, another word they probably shouldn't use, to continue research for her book. And then what does she name the book? All In. The Education of General David Petraeus. Okay. Now, all of that, not enough to convict somebody of cheating, but I'm not going up to be the director of the CIA. Even Petraeus' friends were saying that it was obvious Broadwell was overly gushing and in love with him. All of the warning signs were there. And again, this is important. We're hearing today that the administration was aware of the affair before they appointed him CIA director. Now, that's important. Because if they didn't know, they should fire all of the people that should have known. If they did know, why would you make him the head of the CIA? Now, they're saying that the president, he only found out at 5 o'clock on last Tuesday. He didn't know. Why aren't you telling the president of the United States this information? Isn't that kind of critical? Here's the people who should be fired if they didn't know. If really, everyone in the vetting office that said, we didn't know. Everybody who saw the report that says, hey, we did know, but we don't have to tell the president. Everyone who should have gotten the report to the president before 5 p.m. on Election Day. All of those people should be fired. All of them. If the president didn't know, or if the administration didn't know, before they put him in charge of the CIA. Let's just see what's happening, America. This is Benghazi all over again. One way or another, gross incompetence or massive cover-up. We're in trouble. And here's their game plan. They're going to run the clocks on this one again. They do it every time. They run the clocks, you tire of it, and you don't pay any attention, and then they come out and they're like, oh yeah, we were doing that. This time, they're running it out in an interesting way. They're using a sex scandal to do it, which really works to their advantage because the media will love to feast on the bones of General Petraeus for a while, and the all-in jokes will last at least a couple of weeks. By the time we get to the real issue, which is your security, his testimony will have absolutely no value. He could say whatever he wants. He should testify today before there's any more damage to his credibility. And what credibility does he have? You know, it's going to be just exactly like when we found out that there were stains on that blue dress of Monica's. It won't matter once you find out. But this time, it's not the reputation of just the president, it's the reputation of the last thing that we trust. Remember, this is about Benghazi and leaving 4 people there to die. We don't do that. They were alive, and we didn't go in to get them. To give you some perspective, we fought for 18 hours in Mogadishu for 2 dead bodies that we refused to leave behind. This time we let 4 die. I don't care about his sexual life, except that he put himself into a position to be blackmailed, and that puts my family and your family and our country at risk. It does matter. And it does matter what the president knew and when he knew it. It's got to be solved one way or another. The president and this administration knew. Let me ask you this. What's more powerful? Just play this out. You're in the administration. What's more powerful? A CIA director that you like and handpicked? Or a CIA director that you have the goods on? Now, I don't know. But I bet you that Eric Holder does. I mean, he works at a place known as the J. Edgar Hoover FBI building. Every time he walks through the door, he should think, oh yeah, that's right. If I could just get information on people, I'd have all kinds of power. When the administration has the goods on the CIA director, that's not good. And now he's taking the fall because they're done with him. They knew the information. They used it. They used him, manipulated him. Now they're exposing him, and not for somebody who's living immorally. We know they don't care about that. I mean, Bill Clinton is practically a hero to the left. They used him, manipulated him. They're done with him, and they will destroy him. I warned when he took the gig, don't do it, General, they're using you. And a week ago, I noticed a headline. Princeton's newspaper reported that Petraeus was thinking about taking a big job there. And I'm thinking, really? Princeton University? General Petraeus at Princeton, the home of Peter Singer, the home of the Woodrow Wilson Center for Politics, and the most distinguished fellow Van Jones? And General Petraeus? Really? They're going to just cuddle up to him, open arms? Sounds like a bribe to me. Look, the easiest way to explain this is just to remind you of what it looks like in a movie scene. It's happened in every movie where the top guys have gone bad. And they call him into the office. Damaging information. You want Petraeus to take the fall? You just call him into a room like this. You say, General, I think it's time that you resign, and you're not going to testify. Now listen, we've set up a nice life for you, and things will be good. You'll be able to shape young minds and work at a fine institution, and just go away. They're waiting for you with open arms. Save your good name. Retire quietly. You're taking the gig. That's when somebody who you think is a hero stands up and says, the hell I am! What you people have done! The bad guy behind the desk never does anything except get quiet. And then reach into his desk. General, General, General. I thought you would say that. A good man, a great career. You have a wonderful wife. How many kids do you have? What a shame it would be if they ever knew who their father really was. That's when our hero's face reddens with anger and embarrassment. I know this happened because this scene damn near played out in my life. The same kind of threat in exactly the same way was made to me, but they never brought the paper out. It was just this, Glenn. You know, a lot of people are looking into your life. A lot. And it's always horrible when a man does something to hurt a woman, especially as good as yours. The hair stood on the back of my neck, and I said, damn right it's not. That's why it's not happened. The other gentleman sitting behind the desk stared me down for about 30 seconds. He knew I wasn't bluffing, and I knew he was. That's when he closed his little folder and put it back in the desk and said, I know. You just be careful. The people in the White House are not bluffing. This was the choice that General Petraeus faced. Now here's the question that remains. Has he hit bottom? Because see, everything that happened in Benghazi, that was a CIA safe house. It can all be pinned on him. These people will try to pin it all on him. He's the perfect scapegoat. They destroy the military. They destroy a hero. They destroy your trust in the military, all because of one mistake. They manipulated him because they could. Why do you think I've been telling you, do not keep everything out of your life that doesn't belong there. Clean up all of your messes. Because it's going to take enough courage to remain standing. Will our hero turn out to be one of the villains? Or will General Petraeus be brave enough and humble enough and broken enough to take his lumps and tell America what really happened in Benghazi and what's really happening in this administration? Will he expose the rats? It's quite a risk, because what usually happens in this scenario, the movie ends with a Vince Foster scene. But that would be too obvious. I mean, nobody in America would be so stupid to fall for something like that. I mean, oh, wait a minute. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I did see the election results last week, and I seem to remember about 61 million people who would probably believe something as ridiculous as that.